This is a, let's just start, I guess. Om Jnanam Vinandasya So it will be sort of very informal presentation. Someone say okay. So the way I'm going to start is Lord Chaitanya predicted, right? Why is it shaking? Okay. That all of you know this, right? Prithvi Yacha Yatra Nagaradi Gram Sarvat Prasar Hagve Morana. In every town and village, the mortal chanting of my name will be heard. And so this is a kind of a story. Boise, Idaho. Boise, not too many people, even in America, know where Boise is. It's a small town. Now it's a little bit bigger in northwest. It's between, I think all of you know Silicon Valley or San Jose, California, and Seattle, and then Salt Lake City. Between those, there's a small place here. America is very big, and so this is about 400 miles from either one of those temples. Am I speaking too fast? Can you understand? No? All right, okay, so one picture. So, I want to give you the way it is. Okay, this is a bird's eye view of Boise, Idaho. It's situated among the hills. It's actually a desert. It's a dry hills, and this is in a valley. Okay, it's called Treasure Valley. Okay, because in Idaho you can actually find gold, gems, emeralds, and this is Treasure Valley. And then Anantarupa Maharaj, do you know Anantarupa? Yeah. He once came. He said this is the Boise Temple is a jewel in the Treasure Valley. And so the way it started, we got initiated in 1985 in Los Angeles, and right after shaving my head and everything else, initiated, you say in Hindi, right? Palmana pole pade. You understand? So what happened was I got laid off. Okay. So with the Indian mind, we think, well, something went wrong. Krishna, the Guru is not happy and get laid off, and I could not find any job. LA is a very big town, very big city, and people come to LA to find a job if they get laid off in a small town. This was the reverse. And so the only place, it's amazing, the only place I could find a job was in Boise with Hewlett Packard. I think almost every one of you probably has a printer or a computer. And but my wife, she refused to move. She said, "I'm not going to leave devotees." Actually, just a personal story. I got initiated because they wanted to initiate her. Okay. And the custom is the wife does not get initiated, without the husband. So I just was hanging on to her side pallu, and I got initiated. Anyway, so she didn't want to leave LA. She was doing some kirtan. She was part of the Namhat team and so many things. We used to do Namhat once a month in our home. And my father was saying, no, a man should have a job and you should move to Boise. The impression of Boise was that it is a very Christian town, meat and potatoes, and it is cold for 6 months of the year. So that was the impression we had. But after a lot of discussion, She was a beautiful wife, she is. And so she agreed on one condition. We had 2 sons, 4 and 2, that she would be able to open a preaching center. That was her condition. And I said, I have no problems with that. And so that's how it started. So the temple is situated in Boise, in a very old neighborhood, okay, on Martha Street. So this is a view of the Martha Street, okay, you can say. The street right here, all the houses, and kind of a, but nice neighborhood. This is a snow scene in the winter time, okay? So nothing fancy, nothing, glamorous, just a very regular town. And so the presentation is miracle. This is Martha Street, it's kind of cleaned up. We moved in 86, okay? Just regular, you can see this is Ravi, Radhika and Gopal, 4 and 2, okay? Playing in the snow, and this is summertime. We bought a duplex, it's called, 2 apartments. They're joined together. So we lived in this backside. Can you see the cursor? You cannot. Okay. Just 1 second. Okay, that's fine. And so, who's good at IT? Why is it not showing? See this? Okay. Okay. So, okay. So this is this connection here. Anyway, so this is my wife. This is in my office. These are 2 happy kids. And so the property is situated right. Something is going on here. Right next to Boise State University, 20,000 students. 𝐂𝐻𝐌𝐌. Okay. All right. It's a.
Internet is good.
You don't do it?
You can share to another laptop and can project.
Yes, I have the same one. Oh, you want to use that? You like that? Your laptop. You want to use this? So the whole street is only about 1/5 of a mile, okay? About 1/3 of a kilometer long. And so right here is this is the temple, okay? And I'm just giving you the front part, and then we'll talk about the story. So miracle, this is the miracle that happened on this street, and this is the inside, okay? So that's our Krishna. Busy man? Yeah? Whatever now. No, it's okay. इसका करंट क्या है? इसका बल्ब है। I have power on my PC. इसका बल्ब फ्यूज हो गया क्या? ये न्यूज कनेक्शन here power part. Power के लाइन. It is a market beharing. Market beharing is sometimes very crooked. The technology. I've been giving presentations for 30 years. Every presentation has solution. Who's the expert? Huh? Oh, warming up? Hey, sure. Light up. This is the outside, and this is the inside. Very nice. So let's start the interactive. Why do we need a temple? Anyone? Hearing chanting. What else? Why do we need a temple? Okay, good. What else? Association. Very nice. And so there are so many reasons, and then what do we need to build a temple? And what else? Devotion. And there was a small child in Georgia, America, actually in Virginia. We were doing the same group, and he had the most amazing answer. So I'll share that with you. So, we need a temple for preaching, book distribution for families, a place to come and transfer the culture to children, kitchen for prasadam, that's very important for me. Deity worship holds the community together. My Guru Maharaj says, temple deities are the glue that keeps everything going. Outreach, you need a place. When you have your card that you give out, it has an address, okay? And then to hold festivals, right? These are some of the reasons. So this is something that the boy said in that group. He said, a sincere desire that we want to have a temple. All of you have that. You're just starting it. You need money, land, construction knowledge and skills, and a local support. Something very, very important, at least in America. Here, you can assume it's our culture, people who support it, but outside, so we made a very sort of distinct effort to involve the local community. So the slogan was made in Idaho for Idahoans, by Idahoans. There was a big, huge Swaminarayan temple that opened in America. You've heard of that, right? Very, very big one in New Jersey, just done. What they did, they imported all the sculptures, they imported all the artisans, carpenters, and everything. And pretty soon there was a lot of criticism in the papers that they're bringing this labor from there, they're not paying them anything, and a couple of carpenters and all, they filed a suit in America that they didn't get paid. A lot of not good publicity. It was such a huge temple. But again, the local support, or they did not make an effort to do that. So, right? So you have support. You have support of, Mamta ji and everyone else, so on and so forth, right? It's so important. Same there, everything is same like that, okay? And then one more quality that you need is that we all have to become an instrument of Krishna, right? Nimit matram bhava. And that's something that came out in this experiment or in this experience. And of course we need the blessings of Guru and Krishna. They can make you do amazing things. When I think back, I have no skills at all in construction or anything, neither does my wife or children, but somehow things are put together. The other thing in these miracles, don't expect that, like there's some Akashvani, prediction that, Kansa, you're going to die in 7 days. This is why, Krishna was unfolding it, you see, depending on the capacity now, the miracle unfolded. One of the reasons I'm doing all of this, just to let you know, is to, in every place I've done a presentation, there are a couple of devotees who have come forward and say, I want to do this in my village, I want to do this in my town. So this whole world, we have 650 centers, but there could be 1,000 centers. And so the whole idea is that all of you will get inspired to do here and or in your own hometown. So I gave a presentation in Kanhaiya Desh, Middle East, and a couple of devotees came. They were one was from Bihar, the other one was from, I think, Madhya Pradesh. And said, Prabhuji, I have this money I'm earning here, I want to go open a temple in my village. So that is the whole idea behind this, that I think it should inspire devotees. So there was no thunder, no flashes, no lightning happened. Every 2 years something happened. Every 2 years, it's a temple in making. So this is how we started. It started on a coffee table, okay? The reason my wife chose this, okay, can I tell you a story? How much time? We have till 9 o'clock, right? Okay. Because I'm good at storytelling. Why did we buy this place? Okay. So HP was the biggest employer. In those days, they used to pay very good. I moved from LA to HP. I sold my house in Los Angeles. That's a very expensive place, so I got good money from there. I came to Boise, a small town, very cheap. So the HP hired a real estate agent to show me around and buy a house. And so we looked at many houses. This was the first one we looked at. And my wife liked it instantly. And the reasons for it, I'll tell you in a minute. And but the real estate agent, they want to sell their highest cost, right? So they said, well, there are a lot of better things. So we went there. She showed us a house that had 4 acres of land. It had grape vines, so you can make wine and all that stuff. Grape vines, and then it had a gazebo, a very nice veranda, and so on and so forth. 4 bedrooms, and I was just like, still a coming mood, right? And I'm thinking, this is so nice. And the price was right, I could afford it. And my wife was just very sober. And I said, so the agent said, do you have any questions? So I asked her, do you have any questions? He said, yeah, you ask her, why is the owner selling it? You got it? And she said, well, Mr. Gupta, they're getting a divorce. So my wife told me, but if you want to get a divorce, then you can buy this. She said, I'm not going to clean it. I'm not going to take the grapes off. In America, you do everything with your own self. I'm not going to, mow the lawn, because you'll be going to the office. And so I'm not going to do this. So that was the external reason. But this other place was next to it. She had studied Prabhupada so closely. This was near a student center, university. It was in the middle of the town, a lot of activities happening. The other place was out of the town, and it was compact, but it had this huge room, which was the size, about half the size of this, where the old owner had converted the garages into a family room. And so that's where it is. And so she liked that. And she said this is where she can hold it. Our living space was not on the side. So here's the coffee table, and these are small gornitais. These were our like small niches for the kids we had. Jagannath Baldev Sudra gornitai. So we opened it in 1986 at Diwali, okay, October. And so how we started, she called up looked up in yellow, white pages, the directory. In those days there were phone directories. Looked up all the Agarwals, Shahs, Patels, so on and so forth. There were only about 8 families. 8 families. So she told them, well, please come, we are new in town, and I'd like to know all of you. Okay, so they came. They move for a lot of reasons, and when they have children, they realize that they need a place where they can give children their culture. And so right from the beginning, the focus was children. We were celebrating somebody's birthday party. Okay, so then from the coffee table, just Gordon sitting on there, I remember this. I brought this in my suitcase from Jaipur. We had a little bit, bigger coffee, same coffee table, but we added like a, side table. And this is like 87, so 86, 87, right? Okay, we joined 2 tables together, okay? Then we went from a coffee table to a dining table. This is literally the size of a dining table, okay? And then we had one American Mataji, a young, and she had 2 kids, and she used to come for that. She was married to an Indian, actually somebody from Fiji. And so she said, I know how to paint. Can I paint a lotus flower? So yes, she did the lotus flower. The whole small congregation was involved. We had our first American devotee, and he said, I know some woodwork. I like to, make a lattice work in the back. So he did that. Okay. So this is 88. Okay. 86, 87, 88. This is our book rack. Very nice. It was very nice. And then this was like starting by 94. Something that you notice, it's like all of these are in some ways miracles. What you see over here, there's a carpet here, right? Okay, carpets are no. Carpets, you don't want carpets. They collect dirt, no matter how much clean, and mites, katmal and all that stuff. So I went on a tour with HP, and when I come back, I found that my wife had found someone and pulled out the whole carpet. Okay, I was very, very upset, very upset, but there was no choice. And to stick the carpet, this person had used this black tar, literally black tar, because it was a cement floor, and he had put some black tar in the carpet. I took the carpet out. I had no idea, never done tile work. I started to do these wood tiles, and I didn't know what I was getting into. And okay, miracle number 2, 3, 4 is a devotee walked in. Okay, he's not really initiated. He had been with devotees, again an American devotee, for many years. He he had been to the forest in the summertime, and he was returning back, and he had heard that Boise had a devotee family. So he came. Devotees have, somehow Krishna will tell them where there are devotees, where there's some prasadam.
Okay, Boise is one of the biggest concern we had, that we didn't have any association. Okay, and so, but so we always had a nice Sunday feast. We always had good prasadam, and somehow devotees knew. Okay, you see, they would travel from one big temple to the other one. We were right in the middle. And so this devotee, he was really came for just a night stop and have some prasadam. He looked at the door, the finished floor, unfinished floor, and said, Prabhu, can I help you? I said, sure, yeah, you can help me. I said, how long you're here? He said, I'm here only for 2 days. So I said, do what you can. He stayed for 10 days, finished the whole thing, okay? And the floor is still there, okay? So you can see this is I don't think any one of you know Ganpati Swami. Prabhupada disciple, a very powerful Sankirtan leader. Ganpati Swami. Huh? Yeah, well, yeah, BBT, he has his own Sankirtan party. He could distribute like probably 40 Gitas in 1 hour. He has so potency, he would go on in the university, set up a table, students walk by, he would just do like this. And the student will just sort of come in. I've seen it myself. And he would just, whatever he said, they end up with a Gita. And he always did only hard-baked Gitas. No soft, nothing. Just like that. So he helped us a lot. He was the first Swami who came. He, if you look at him carefully, stands up. He's a sort of exact copy of Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj ki, Prabhupada ki. He taught us a lot, especially cleanliness. Okay. So then somebody in the congregation came and he said, I will foot half the bill. Can we put some marble tiles? So this is marble tiles. Okay. Right. This is I don't know if you can see this. This is the back. This is the structural engineer Bengali, Sandeep Gua, who really helped us with all the structural engineering for the temple. He passed away. Krishna took care of him very nicely. His passing was very nice. Then in 1996, Srila Prabhupada came. Okay, and then 99, Gaurnitai came. Okay, and these are all two fitting. Okay, and they came in business class. Okay. I have so many stories. I have a book coming out. But you can see the dining table is getting very crowded, right? Okay, you got these big deities here, Gaurnitai, Banki Bihari, and then Jagannath Baldev Subhadra will also enlarge, okay? They just couldn't fit in, so you'll see that in a minute. But this, okay, and then in August of 99, we got the whole temple constructed. In Boise, it was very big news. The paper and the front page carried it. This is Badrinath Maharaj. You probably all of you know him. He's our GBC. He came and installed the chakra on top. Something very miraculous. This is a metal dome. We had it done by local artists. We had to paint it again. This chakra, people still ask, is still the same luster, same shine that was installed in 99. It is now 30 years, almost 25 years, and it's still, with all the hail, snow, and dirt storms, everything else still shines. The mayor came to inaugurate it, and this is, like you saw this, this altar was built by an 80-year-old carpenter, one of the best in town, okay? And so he did that. Just to give you one more idea, this is when we do at Janmashtami, we have this, what we call, Phul Bangla, flower, house of 10,000 flowers to attract the Americans. They never know these kind of things. So over 5 years, and from 1986 to 91, we expanded to dining table. But then my wife, there's a hippie American woman about 30 years old. And she somehow mesmerized my wife that they should open a restaurant, vegetarian restaurant. And my wife, again, you have a Naamullah, they have, what is they huh? Yeah, great enthusiasm. And so she agreed. She said, yeah, we'll do it together. Okay. So, 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 and so we found a place in 1990 in downtown. Okay. Downtown is a place in America where you should have activity. So we found a place, and all we got was a shell, okay, cement shell. I didn't realize that. Put all the money I had to sort of for the down payment, this and that. And then she said, well, you build it. I'm going to India. Every summer she went to India with the boys. So she went to India, and I was left with her. The lady who said she would help, she left. Okay, so. Okay, but this is this is the inside of the restaurant. And the reason why I'm telling you this is also a miracle. This is what we call it's a Hobart. It's a machine that does everything, cut and also you can dough. You can make knead the dough, everything else. This machine is almost the size of my wife. Okay. She actually at one time put her hand in there and got ripped off almost. You can see this is Gopal, this is Radhika, Ravi. So we all were there, cooking. I used to come at lunchtime to do things. But so we started, and so no help, nothing. We just started it, not knowing anything, just enthusiasm. And we said we're going to do it 6 days a week, Monday through Friday. Saturday, and then Sunday we did the Sunday feast, right? After 2 weeks, we realized we had bitten more than we could eat, right? So, and I'm going to tell you a story. So we didn't know what to do. She knew a devotee, 𝐉𝐻𝐈𝐍 Mataji. Her husband used to run a restaurant in a small town in California. So she said, I will send my husband to help you out. So the husband came. Literally that night, after we closed the restaurant, we were sitting on milk crates and literally crying, and he walked in. And he looked at us, we gave him some prasadam, he talked. And then I was hoping he would stay a few days, so like that. And he said, Anantarupa, and these are the exact words I still remember. When Krishna wants you to dance, you dance. Okay? You know that line, right? Prabhupada said, Prithvi, okay, nache, nache, right? Make me dance, make me dance. And then he added one more word, one more sentence. Even if you have only one leg, if Krishna wants you to dance, you dance on one leg. And that came out so true, and that's the rest of the story. Okay? So, so we were running the restaurant. She was homeschooling. We were running the restaurant. We were doing the Sunday feast. The preaching center was exploding. Okay, to the point that we used to do in the evening our Sunday feast. The families would come in. They would have children, so they would put the children to sleep in our bedroom. The infants, their diapers will be in our waste paper basket in the bedrooms. And so on and so forth. So we had a committee to see if we can build a temple. There was one doctor couple. They said they will buy the land and pay for a lot of construction, but it had to be out of the town, a little bit more. And his whole thing was he wanted to control it. And he was not a devotee, he was actually a Jain couple. They went, but kind of not practicing. And I said, that's fine. I said, Mukesh was his first name. I said, it's fine, but just remember that you also have to build a home or a quarter apartment for at least one pujari and at least for one devotee. Because it used to bother him that, we were doing the whole thing. And I said, the reason it is, they said, it's not a church. Church you can lock up. There's no DTs, right? It's a hall. They have maybe a cross. They come Sunday morning, they open it up and they shut it down, right, in the evening. But I said, here we have DTs 365 days. They have to be Mangal Arati, noon and evening. So anyway, we looked for the land everywhere. But the realization came afterwards that Banki Bihari wanted to stay where he is. So I think all of us know this. It's in a culture that once the deities stay in place, you don't move them. It is like a law. To move them, you really have to ask permission and really do some price shits. Okay? And there was no land. That's what is our problem. But the land sort of came about. It's in some ways it is same thing as the TOVP, right? I don't know how many you know this. In the beginning, Amrish Prabhu and the committee tried to find land in Orissa and some other place in West Bengal, tried to get everything because they thought there was no land. And then finally they realized the land was right there where it's being built. In a very small way, it's the same thing. What had happened, to give you an idea, okay, our property was on 1/6 of an acre. So how many kattas will that be? 10 kattas, right? So this is on 10 kattas, right? 1/6 of an acre. And then in this neighborhood, there was an exact copy of our property on the other side. Okay? So one over here and one over here, right? So when we sold the restaurant, and I got just enough money, like $20,000. And then at that time, this property went on sale. This person was a heavy Christian. He could not stand every Sunday that we did all this thing, so he wanted out. Okay. Okay. Krishna sitting in the heart, he does all those things, right? And so we had enough money just to give the down payment, the first EMI, what you want to call it. Okay. So now we have this property, right? In the back, you cannot see this, but the law requires to have open land between two houses. So if there's a fire and privacy reasons, they have. So there was this empty space in the back. Now, my owner had put in this carport because he had converted the garage into a family room, but there was room in the back right here. And so, but I was so afraid to ask anyone in this Christian town that I wanted to build a temple. If you can imagine, every street like we have here, they have a church, a very heavily Christian community. Okay, so I called the architect and I said, now by the way, the architect, okay, now you can say, I'll tell you as we go along. We thought that we were so disappointed that the restaurant didn't work out. We hardly made any, profit for the temple, anything like that. And why did we open it? The architect was a regular customer. We didn't realize that at Govinda's. Okay, and so I called him up. He came and I said, what I want to do, I want to join these two properties, just build a long room, like you have in the U.S. Just for like a kind of a basketball court. I said I have two boys, and it's cold outside, so in winter time they can have something inside to run around. And he looked at me and he said, Arun, tell me the truth. What do you want to do? I promise you that I will do everything in my power to make it happen. So then I told him, I said, I want to build a temple. And he said, okay. Now, here too, but you can get things done by, contacts and money, this and that. This was in a residential neighborhood, right? Residential, and the church would be a commercial, so you cannot do that. So you have to get a zoning variance. Okay, you have to go to the city and say, can you give us a variance? And then they require a lot of things to be done to do that. And so the requirement is that you get the approval of the neighbors. So every neighbor in 1 kilometer area, round circle, has to be contacted, and then they come for a meeting to give the approval. Number one. Two, we should not disturb the characteristic or the environment of the neighborhood. So it should look like a house, sort of thing, right? So we had a neighborhood meeting. Generally, neighborhood meetings are very, very long meetings because some neighbor has a problem, other has something. And so we were expecting this meeting to last 2 hours. Only 2 people showed up. One was the university architect. The university is nearby. My architect was very wise. He had already contacted the university that we are going to do this. And the university had said that they want something like this because they want to expose students to different cultures. So, right? The only other person who came was the neighbor, and he was my godbrother, a devotee. And the meeting lasted 15 minutes. So we got the neighborhood meeting done, okay? This is all these miracles. See, small miracles happening. Then, so we went to, then the final approval, there's actually every Tuesday, these planning and zoning commissioners, they meet in City Hall to approve all these approvals. So the university architect had told me, bring your congregation to the meeting. So I was able to agree, have 15, 20, husbands and wives come to the meeting. So we told them, you come at 7:30. We were on the agenda at 7:45 in the evening. The meeting starts at 7. When we go there, me and the architect and just my family and the boy, 2 boys and wife, and they had put, of all the 30 items, there were 10 items they considered non-controversial that they will pass right in the beginning, in like 2 minutes. Yes, 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 yes. To our surprise, our temple, which was in some ways very different, was in the non-controversial segment. So by 7:15, in a matter of 5 minutes, the whole project was approved. We come out, the congregation is just coming in, and we had brought some Mahaprasad, simply wonderfuls, right? So something simply wonderful had happened, and we were outside just chanting Hari Bols and giving prasad, Mahaprasad. And the guy from inside came, the security guy said, can you please quiet down? Yeah, we have a meeting inside. So it's amazing how we got the approval, okay? It was one of the fastest temple that was built in 6 months, from Varaha Dwadashi to Balram Purnima. And this is, okay, 99. No mortgages, no liabilities, fully paid for, okay? Just some shots. This is the Bhumi Pujan, breaking of the ground. We installed the, okay. Now, the construction, that's where you see a lot of miracles happening, okay? And I'll go one by one. This thing. One, the sannyasis, the gurus, they happened to come by. The architect was sort of very, okay, the architect had asked me, he said, before I build it, I want to see, come to 2-3 Sunday feasts to observe that. They said, I want you to take me to a temple. I've never seen a temple. See, this is something, can you understand this? He had never seen a temple. He wanted to see a temple. So I took him to Dallas, Kalachandji's, okay? And he went there. But then he thought he had it. So one of the first Swamis who came was my Guru Maharaj, Gopal Krishna Goswami. He used to visit us every year. And so Bruce was the architect, and he was starting to tell Maharaj, he was a little bit proud, And Maharaj took him aside and said, Bruce, I have built many temples, 10 times, 20 times bigger than what you're building. He said, I built this temple in Delhi. The architect is a graduate of Harvard University, so on and so forth. So Bruce got the, he became more serious and he became more, this thing happens. Krishna sent, at the people at the right time. My sons, Radhika and Gopal, okay, and I'll tell them about it. There's another, there are two friends who used to come regularly. Their parents, Mudambis, they were from Andhra. They were Sri Sampradaya, but they both knew that there was something nice, Boise, in this temple, okay? And so both Chandu and Chandu was sort of with Gopal's age, Chintu was Radhika's age. There was a girl, Aditi, okay, a Mormon student, and so on and so forth. And so now I'll give you some very nice incidents. Uh, so I was telling Prabhuji here, I was used to mechanical engineering. I could never even draw a straight line. But Radhika, Gopal was there. He had ideas. He was younger. Gopal had very nice quality. He always deferred to his elder brother. I mean, but then he also left. At that time in America, they were holding the first or second Bhakti Shastri. Is that really so? He went for Bhakti Shastri in the summer. He was there for, it was such a short project. But Radhika stayed there together, okay, 1999. Now remember, he's a philosophy major, okay? So philosophy, forget science. He's in the art side, right? Never studied drawing, never studied drawings, architects, so on and so forth. And the architect said, I've never seen such bright kids, okay? The way the Radhika and Gopal were able to interact. The temple is about half built, okay? Half built. This is like end of June, first week of July. The structural engineer, Sandeep Guha, he called me one day, he said, Arunji, I have a architectural student. I used to know her in Calcutta. She is an intern in Portland, which is the next city, and she's doing internship. And I told her to visit the temple and get some experience. So I said, no problem. She came, okay? She came in the morning. She came only for one day on a Saturday. She came in the morning. She looked, okay, you can see the temple is half built. She looked and she came out very, very disturbed. She says, Uncle, this is not right. This is absolutely not right. I said, what happened? According to Vastu, according to everything, there's something that is totally, totally wrong. I said, what happened? He said, you have a bathroom right in the front entrance. And this is a no-no. Now, in America, when you walk into any big place, the first thing is the bathroom. So this is what the architect myself, right? And I totally forgot. I mean, in India, we don't even think about it, but it's true, right? The bathrooms are, now there are a couple of temples in America, they have it on the side, but yeah, but yes. So anyway, and I said, Aditi, now just remember the name, Aditi, right? The mother of demigods, right? She said, I said, it's half built and the architect will not accept any changes now. He said, don't worry, uncle. You just get me a lunch appointment with the architect. I'm professional, he's professional, and I'll see what I can do. So I said, yeah, no problem, I'll pay for the lunch. So he came, they went to lunch, they left at noon, they came back at 2 o'clock, and Bruce came to me, architect said, Arun, why didn't you tell me before? Yeah, there's no problem, I can move the bathroom. So that was a very big thing, okay? And that happened, okay? And she came, Krishna sent her only for that purpose. Because this is like July, in August the temple opened. So what I had done, I had made a list of all the people who had helped us to invite them for the opening. So I talked to Sandeep. I said, I called up Aditi, I cannot find her. He said, well, she left for India. So she came, and about 2 weeks later, she had gone to India. Okay, but so that was the Chandu and Chintu. These are the two boys. Okay, yeah. Um, we have shared the plans with the congregation, and again, Chandu was the one. He's the younger one. He was about 11 years at that time. He raised his hand. Uncle, you told us that every temple should have a parikma path. Right? This does not have it. We had never thought of it. And I said, okay, yeah, we'll get you parikma path. Now, in America, if you go, most temples do not have parikma, right? So ours is one of the few ones that has this. And so again, through Baki Bihari spoke through, and it's one of the most used rituals that the Indians do there. Then he also wanted that, see, he's from South, right? So what do you find in the South Indian temples as you walk in? Anyone? Huh? No. They always have flowing water. So you can wash your feet. So I said, not that I cannot do. So we have a small sink, but okay. So that's that. Okay. Then the tiles. This is a really good story. Okay. I think, what time do we have? I just want to make sure. Okay. Give me another 15 minutes. All right. So we had a congregation meeting. He said what tiles we should want. So I was going for marble. And okay, Boise is a cold place, right? The Sanskrit teacher for Radhika and Gopal, an American, and we found him in the restaurant. Okay, I forgot to tell him about him. He rose his hand. He said, "No, you can have wood tiles." I said, "No, marble tiles." He said, "No, if you have marble tiles, the floor will be cold, and and in winter time we'll freeze. And so, if you had marble tiles, I will never come to the temple again." And then the whole congregation was behind him. So I said, okay, we'll go with wood tiles. So we go to what they call a construction store, Home Depot. And we went to the tile section. I rang the bell for help. So a 20-year-old boy, he came. And he said, "Sir, can I help you?" I said, "Yes, we need tiles." He said, "I know, we're looking for wood tiles." But he said, "Tell me first, where will the tiles be used?" I said, "In a temple." He said, "Nope, you're going to have marble tiles. No wood tiles in temple." And I didn't want to tell him that. we had a fight in the congregation. But I said, the marble tiles are very expensive. Here, I think wood probably more expensive, right? But here in America, there's plenty of wood. So he said, no, you got to have marble tiles. I said, how do you know? He asked me, what are you building, a temple? So you should have marble tiles. So I said, how do you know? He said, every temple that I went in India had marble tiles. So he was from Mormon community. Mormons have a very nice rule. After high school, all the males, especially male students, they go for 2 years for mission. They don't do any studies. They go for 2 years to convert to preach. And when they come back, the church will pay for all their education. Very nice system. Something that I think Gauranga Prabhu and others are trying to do this. Even in your GBC, if you want to really incent brahmacharis to do that. So he had gone to South India for preaching mission. And he said, every place I had gone had marble tiles. So, but then I said, well, I said, it's very expensive. He said, well, let's go take a look, see what we can find. So the wood tiles you can buy for about $4 or $5 a square foot. The marble tiles, the minimum is $10 to $12 a square foot. One tile, $12. Just remember that. We go through the marble tile section. At the end of the section, generally you have things on sale. So at the end of the section, there was this pallet. A pallet is like a wood stack. On that there was these tiles. On top was sale $1.99, $2 per tile. I said, what is this? He said, well, these tiles, this is just one lot we got, very limited quantity, and they are a little bit out of spec. Okay, so it should be 12 inches by 12 inches. This was 12 inches. by 11 and 7/8, so 1/8 inch off. I said, I don't care. Who will notice the difference, right? But the story is that in Malaysia, the building is still there, this Petromax Towers, they had specified marble tiles for their floors, bathrooms, whatever it is. And they're a big company, big out. So when these tiles went there, the architect rejected it because they were out of spec. So they have all these tiles. So the Home Depot, the construction, they bought the lot and they gave each of their stores 20 pallets. Okay. Um, so the marble traveled from Italy to Malaysia to Boise. Okay. And we had gotten 20 pallets. We took 19 pallets. Only one was left. So again, to me, Krishna sent the boy to tell us to get the marble. He supplied the marble, just enough. Okay, we bought the whole stock for less than what I would have paid for all the wood tiles. Okay. Same thing. After it was done at the inauguration time, I went to the Home Depot. I said, just actually, he married. He married. He still comes, but not because he still comes, but not regularly. He had some issues, but anyway, I went to Home Depot to get this student to come for the inauguration, and I talked to the manager. He said, that boy, he didn't last too long. He came and he left, and I figured out he left about 2 weeks after I was there. So Aditi, this Mormon boy, okay, they all came and they did that. Just a couple more things. Nice guy. Ours is the only temple in USA that has this painted ceiling, like, I don't know if you know Michelangelo and Vatican. It has the entire Bhagvatam cover. I wanted this thing done. It was my own personal desire. Somehow I got in the mind that I wanted to do this. But so architect didn't like the idea, but he said, I'll go ahead, you are the owner. So we went around, minimum price that an artist would do, what, $50,000. To give you an idea, the temple was going to be built in $250,000 and everything, $50,000. We went to someone else, $40,000. So I said, okay, no problem. I work at HP. HP has these big printers, color printers, inkjet, design jets. They can print 4x4 canvases. So I said, well, I'll put 4x4 canvases, stick them up. That's when the contractor and architect said, this is crazy. Can you imagine these things peeling off after a while? So the contractor said, you know what? I just remembered there's a fine arts professor at BSU. He used to work in the summertime for me as a student. He owes me a favor. Why don't you go and get him? So I go to Michael Balzel was his name. And his specialty was when we do plays and the backdrops, they make big backdrops. So he used to teach students how to make these big backdrops. It's not fine arts like small, okay? That's his specialty. So I go to him, he comes, he said, yeah, I know Jim. By the way, Jim, the contractor, has also built our restaurant. He used to eat. He was a vegetarian. He knew Hare Krishna from the 60s. Mike came, he talked to Jim, and Jim said, talk to Arun, and I told him what needs to be done. He said, yeah, I can do that. I was afraid. He said, no, we are trained to paint any face, anything, exact copy. I thought he's an American, how can he paint Krishna? He said, no, we can do everything. I said, what would you charge? He said, you just supply me the materials, I'll do it for free. Okay? Materials cost us $5,000, $4,000, something like that. Now, because of this thing sealing, it's another story, another lecture. The temple is still there. If the ceiling had not been there, in very, very short, the temple, the land of the temple, the university is next by. University is a state institution. They wanted to acquire it. They would condemn it and do eminent domain, like they do over here when they want to build highways. So same thing like that. This is the ceiling that the people came very short, and they said, you can build, these are all bricks and cement, you can build somewhere else. And they had never seen the ceiling. The lawyers were talking on the phone in either side. When the guy came, the vice president, just to look at the thing, he was saying, yeah, but then I said, look up. They looked up. He said, yeah, that is a treasure. We cannot destroy this. So that was the reason. This is the final thing. Okay, this is the Saftar, right? I got the idea from Cologne, Germany. So again, we look for stained glass. Generally, Indian temples do not have stained glass windows. It's more a Christian tradition. So so I took this in the Christian, huh? Yeah, but again, it's a Western tradition. Okay, and again, because Idaho is very Christian, I wanted to have something like that to attract people. And so again, a stained glass artist again wanted like $60,000 was one. Another came with $35,000. Then we found out there was one artist in Meridian, which was like 20 kilometers from the town place. We went to him, and he wanted 25, and that was still too high. So we came back, but then again, something, no, we should have it. So I told my wife, let's go together and you speak, because the artist and myself, we had a little bit of, ego. So I said, so we went there, and guess what he said? He said, I've been waiting for you guys. I've been waiting. Where have you been? Because you never gave me the contact information. I want to do the window. I said, what will you charge? Again, same thing, $5,000. I just want to do it. So he does it. Now, like there's 2 weeks to opening, the windows. So I had told him the story about Nrsimhadev. And I told him the story about Nrsimhadev that came to Mayapur, right? All of you know the story, right? What was at the end? What happened at the end? There was a fire, right? In the hut. It was rainy, but still fire, right? And they said Nrsimhadev wants to go. So I told him the story to his son especially. Both the son and father were there. So the windows were not coming. 2 weeks, and I said, no, they'll come, they come. 2 days later, I got a call from his son. He said, Nrsimhadev is ready to come to the temple. I said, what happened? He said, you won't believe this. It has never happened. We have been doing this for 30 years. He said, what they do, they take the stained glasses and they put them in the oven to bake. He said, when we put the Nrsimhadev in, there was fire in the oven. And so we remembered that you said, so he's ready to come out. So this actually happened. Anyway, the reporters came. They did a very nice article, but as you know how reporters are, they want to have some mirch masala, something controversy. So they you guys make noise, right? We all make. Do we make noise? Huh? So I said, yeah, you can ask. I said, we don't make noise. And so I've heard you you do this singing and dancing. So he said, can I talk to a neighbor? So yeah, you can talk to a neighbor. So right across the street, there was a neighbor. So she went there, the reporter. She knocked on the door. This is an old lady. Okay, just remember this. So she said, can I talk to Mrs. So-and-so about the temples? Yeah, they're very nice guys. They always bring me cookies. Okay. But then, hear this out. She said, and he said, do they make noise? She said, what noise? I don't hear anything. She was deaf. Certified miracles. Never. Anyway, very quickly, the effects of prasadam. We finally realized almost every work I had eaten at Govinda's. It says in Vishnu Puran, no one can build a temple till they are pure. purified at least. So at least prasadam had gone into their stomachs. Now, those who did not, my wife very diligently every morning for a break at 10 o'clock, we would either give them pakoras, halwa, and milk, all those things. So they were constantly fed prasadam. So I'm going to stop here. Just one last thing. Money was never an issue. We did not budget anything. We kept on writing checks. And the miracle in here was personally for me, our community is small. Boise is not an economically advanced city. Now it is. The congregation could fund only about 15%. 85% came from my side. But I was working for HP. HP was really exploding at that time because of the products. And I would sell half my shares, and within a month or so, the shares would double what I had left. So almost 3 times my whole savings were gone, but then Krishna built it back again. To this day, I'm Prabhupada and Krishna, I'm fine. So for Newtown is a big project. Okay, you'll have your own miracles. But for others over here, if you have the desire, we started very small. We went from 1/6 of an acre to 1/3 of an acre to half an acre. And then we went to 1 acre right here. We built an extension that I'll show you in a second. This is the second part. This is the temple here. This is the other half. This is the community center that we built and a park. And this is the inside of the community center. This is used by the community for weddings and do other kirtans and birthday parties. You can see 250 people. So, so as long as we're ready to dance and be an instrument of Krishna, we don't have to have all the knowledge or the money. That is my experience, that if you have the sincere desire to please Srila Prabhupada, to please Krishna, He will make things happen. Okay? I see a miracle is happening in Newtown. Prabhuji just told me a few things, how you got the land and so on and so forth. But there are so many towns and villages. And see, one of my realizations is that ISKCON has roughly 700 preaching centers and temples. The big temples we all know, but more than half of the temples or preaching centers are a personal voluntary contribution effort by one or few devotees for Srila Prabhupada. And so the whole idea of this presentation is that all of you will, Prabhupada writes many times, do something wonderful for Krishna. So that is, this is one way to do something wonderful for Krishna. And I guess, thank you very much. Any questions, comments? There's so many other stories. I'm planning, I've written about 80%. I have a book in writing that maybe by next year you can, by the same name, Miracle on Martha Street. Thank you very much. No? It's okay. I went too fast.
So, this you're telling about how from small home slowly things developed, and generally we see that Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Generally we see that if you have take care of children, and if parents are busy building temple, generally because the children may get neglected. So how is that you took care of children also and took care of preaching center also and building temple also?
So it's a very good question. It's a wrong notion. As you can see, the children were part of it. We tend to think that all children have to do is study the books, you study school. But the real schooling is all of this, right? And so and that's what the architect was saying, the same thing. He said, where did they from day one? I know what you're getting to is even in the restaurant, the children were helping. So both of my children will never go hungry. They know how to cook, right? Very important part. It's now most Indian husbands, and I'm one of them, don't know even how to boil water for the tea, right? I think you can say that they're nodding, right? But Prabhupada used to cook for 200 people in 45 minutes. I can do that. I make very nice gulab jamuns. So it is what we, and I think you were mentioning that at dinner time, or not, Raslas Prabhu. In India, we give very theoretical knowledge. Practical knowledge we do not. In America, they do. And in fact, the the reason why mechanical engineering, right? When I got the degree, and when I went to work, I realized the Americans, without even going through the books, they could fix a car, they could fix a refrigerator, they could understand everything, and I could not. I got all good grades, so I left. Then and I went into marketing. I got my MBA. So the point is, yes, uh, all this is part of the education. Okay, cooking. Uh, Both the boys learned accounting because they were handling the cash register at the restaurant. Okay, the art of counting, the art of your Radhika, he helped fill out with the architects the forms the city required. Uh, it's one thing to just have book knowledge. The other thing is to have practical knowledge. So the kids, I think, came out much smarter, much stronger, much more Krishna conscious than they were before. Get them involved. Do not leave them out. The Chandu, I asked him, where did you know about the Parikrama path? And he said, well, uncle, you had in one Sunday feast lectures, you had talked about this thing. And I remember that was, when he was a child of 7 years old, his mother made sure that they were there for the lecture and they were quiet. And they absorbed so many things. We don't realize that they don't say it in front of the adults. They're very polite. But they took so many things. And when the time comes, it comes out. Okay. Right. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, what I understand that you were working also when you were busy in like preaching and constructing temple. So how you were able to manage it? Because generally when we work, the consciousness is different. And again, we have to be get engaged here.
Very good. You're talking about how to balance working life,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. Very good question. It's a separate seminar I do on doing this. But again, see, my decision is, like Prabhupada has said, you take one step for Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps, right? To give you an example, I'll give you two examples, okay? So now we are in question and answer. If somebody wants to leave, that's fine. Please go ahead. You have to work what it is. But I remember one time I had a festival and I worked all the evening. And the next day I had a presentation, a slide presentation in the afternoon. And I had not even started. I had some idea in the brain, And when I went to work, about 9 o'clock, a colleague of mine walked into my cubicle. And he said, Arun, this is something I found. In those days, it was all paper, right? Now we have this. I think you may be able to use this for your meeting this afternoon. Okay. Exactly what I wanted to say was there. I just made slides. Gopal Hari. We had the Nrsingadev Chaturdashi. Nrsinga Chaturdashi goes on, there's only 2 hour difference between Janmashtami and Nrsinga Chaturdashi. In USA, in Boise, the sun sets very late. So the sun doesn't set till about 9:30 in the evening. So, right? So, but it is true. We are high up. So in summertime, we are like towards like Alaska. In Alaska, there is sunlight 20 hours. So he had, he's into music. He had a lot of this, everything was a very nice festival. The next day, he had an electrical engineering exam. So he slept, and he told his mother, he said, wake me up early in the morning and I'll try to study. But anyway, he slept. She didn't wake him up because, sleep is more important. If you wake up early and, you study that last minute. But anyway, at 7:30 in the morning, one of his friends, Kaushik, he was actually from Bengal, and Kaushik was an average, happy-go-lucky student, and Gopal always used to help him study. So he called at 7:30 in the morning. I picked up the phone, and he said, well, is Gopal there? And I was going to say, and my wife said, no, tell him Gopal is not available, because he said, he will take up all his time, he wants to study. So I said, Kaushik, Gopal is still sleeping. So he said, okay, when he wakes up, tell him to come to the library. We'll study together. They were in the same class. So Gopal gets up, and I tell him that, and my wife gave him breakfast, and then he said, no, don't waste too much time with him. You have to study. But Gopal, always like a devotee, both they have a very, very compassionate, helping attitude. So he went anyway to the library, meets Kaushik. In America and US, in many universities, you can go and get the old exams, the study old exam. So the Kaushik just picked up an old exam by this professor. He said, I got this from the library. Maybe we should solve this paper. So they did all this thing. They go to the exam. Now you can see the professor gave the same paper. Most of the times, what the professors, they know this, so they'll change the order, they'll change some things. He had not made any changes. So God helps those who help themselves or who help him. There's another example that happened like this, where the teacher got sick, and so on and so forth. So I encourage every one of you, like you have this book you keep. I kept in my mind, Gandhi wrote a book, My Experiments with Truth. All of you should have it, because it took me a long time to be fully convinced. My wife was already convinced. But mentally I kept a note that, every time I did something, my experiments with Banka Bihari, pretty soon you start to see that actually Krishna is in control. Krishna is the one who does everything. That was another realization, that we don't realize that. We think, so on and so forth. And it's true. I mean, even in terms of people, always ask me how my wife never worked. So one job. At those days, the money that people get now, I cannot even think of it. Forget even after inflation, money that people make now. But honestly, one of the devotees in Boise told me, he said, Prabhuji, do you sell drugs on side? How did you get the money? But Krishna took care. They all got scholarships on their own, and everything like that. So just try it. You like it. Huh? Okay. Anything else? No? No? Yes.
Hare Krishna. So you told about the Bhagavatam for children. So when did Mataji write it, or how it came into?
Yeah, homeschooling. So Prabhupada has written a statement, right? My books have everything. Everything that you want to know, or all the knowledge that you want to know is in my books, especially Bhagavatam. He said, I put everything in it. I wonder how many of us actually believe that. How much, what about science? What about mathematics? What about marketing? So on and so forth. My wife, and I keep on giving credit to her, my wife really believed it. And I think Prabhupada helped her because in the initial stages, if I want to homeschooling, the children, they don't need to know computers, they don't need to have cell phones. By the way, the oldest grandson is 13 years old, Radhika's son, and his younger brother 11. They still don't have cell phones. Okay, they have access to it if they need it by their mother or their father. They don't have their own computer. They have access to their mother's computer. And when they are doing that, I know my daughter-in-law, Amrita Kelly, she's constantly hovering over there, looking at this, where are they going, and how long they're using it. Okay. Part of the problem is that we do not, and I'm going the side, we as parents don't spend time. Both of us are busy working. She worked before the children. After children happened, she did not work a single day. Um, on her own. I didn't pressure her. Mother-in-law didn't pressure her. Um, and so she realized, but what the reason was, in the beginning, if you do 4 R's, R like letter R, reading, if they know how to read, writing, R-I-T-I-N-G, forget the W, reading, writing, arithmetic, not complicated maths, arithmetic, which is another R. And the last one is raga, which is music. It's very interesting. Anyone who knows music will also be a good mathematician. Okay? Anyone who knows chess will have good geometry. They're very related. Anyone who studies Sanskrit will have good memory. Do not have to understand Sanskrit. One of the things that we did in the temple for a long time, now all the students are on cell phones. You can't get anyone. But 8-year, 10-year-olds, every year for many years, they would take the whole summer memorizing 108 shlokas, important shlokas, and present it to the congregation. And those kids are very, very smart. I know them. I keep history. Anyway, so reading, writing, arithmetic, and raga, music. If just kids spend those, their initial 4 or 5 years, just studying those, forget science, forget computers, forget everything, just those things, they will then know everything, read everything, study themselves. See, it's one thing to read, but again, to comprehend. हमने क्या पढ़ा? Do you really understand that? Right? And that's why that is the thing that does not happen. I mean, in the Indian schools, US schools, they have all this big backpack with all the books. They read it, but do they really understand it? What she did, the secret is what she did, they read every morning, starting the age of 6, 7, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagvatam. She started with only translations. And then she encouraged both of them to ask questions. When they asked questions, then that's where the Prabhupada's amazing purports come in. His purports are very, very, in some ways, elaborate, you can say difficult. On the other hand, they are very simple. So anyone at their own level can read something. So then she would say, okay, now, Radhika, Ravi, why don't you read the purport? And then they would increase their comprehension. Comprehension means, did you really understand? Reading was translation. You read it. Sarv dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja, right? What does it mean, sarv dharma? Right? You see the purpose. Okay? Because the dharma means you reject all religions. Well, are we rejecting our own? So you read the purport. That's where you comprehend what is being said. So reading and comprehension, and then you write it. Now, up to nobody writes anymore. Nobody writes. They do not know how to write. See, and even then, and then before you now you even if you type something wrong, Control X, Control C, Control V, and before you have to write nicely because otherwise you'll have to erase it and write it again. You can see Prabhupada's training. He never went and he wrote or he spoke the first time. He didn't go, oops, Control X, No. So that's the thoroughness, reading and writing. And then I had them do, for my training, tables, pahade. Do ekam do duni char, do tiya chhe. Nobody does that anymore. I had them do up to 16. That is basic arithmetic. And the Sanskrit teacher, this Gary, the shlokas. And basically for the first 5 years, that's all they did. Nothing else. And at that time, I was not convinced. I was working for HP. In those days, HP had gotten the first computer. I bought one of them for $2,000, which is very big money. I brought it to my wife and children. I said, now you're going to use this. She never let them use it. And I'm glad because Gopal was the sneaky one. He would use it. Guess what? Somehow he had found through a friend what was the Pac-Man, the game. That's what he was using it for. And she said no. When then Radhika got a little bit bigger, I think many of you have read probably articles in BTG by Ravi Gupta. Then he needed a computer. And in no time he used the computer to write articles. In fact, he knew more about Word, the software, than I did. And he was using it then as an instrument, not as a tool, not as a game. And that's the whole issue. So Prabhupada's books have everything in them, believe me. And then, of course, as they got older, we found a science teacher. He taught science. I taught them mathematics, algebra. But then, basically, after that, they went to the university. And we got a lot of feedback. The English professor said their understanding and writing of English is way better than their, graduates. Prabhupada's English was so nice, so precise, So, thank you. Anything else? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.